take this as an opportunity to talk to those that are, because I work with a lot of relocations, I want to talk to you guys that don't live in Houston yet and considering moving here. I know every time, there's a storm or hurricane that affects Houston, what y'all see on social media and what you see in the news, it looks horrible, right? And it is for the people that are affected. But in light of the thunderstorm and tornadoes we just had day before yesterday, I just want to take the time to educate you a little bit about the Houston area. As I'm headed to the coastal side now. But what I want y'all to understand is the stuff that you see on social media and in the news, the whole city does not look like that. Okay? I need you to understand how huge Houston is. And then it's not just Houston. Houston has a huge outer skirts. It has a huge metro area. And the metro areas just keep growing and growing. A lot of those outskirts that were previously just land, nothing but land, those are developed living areas now, and more are coming up. They're starting to build houses everywhere. They're spreading out further and further from Houston, building homes, developing raw land, and those are being attached to Houston. Those are Houston metro areas. So, little bit of facts. There are over 100,000 cities in the U.S. Okay, cities, towns. There's over 100,000. Houston is the fourth largest. Okay, out of 100,000, Houston is the fourth largest city in the U.S. So keep that in mind when you see these little social media clips and the news and stuff. Every time we have a storm, the whole city is not underwater like what you see. Okay. So you got to be careful. You got to be smart about where you choose to live when you do move to Houston. Now, 2 weeks ago, so normally it's like the south, it's like city of Houston, the south of Houston, southeast, that usually floods a lot more. They get hit a lot worse because if you look at the map, look at where the city of Houston is in the state of Texas, you'll see that it's on the coast. It's on the Gulf Coast. So it's right by the water. So it's just as if you were living in Miami. Okay? So they get hit the worst. Of course, they get the most damage, and that's why their homeowners insurance is more expensive on the coastal side. But then also up north gets some flooding too, North Houston, because they have a lake Conroe. Conroe is one of Houston's metro areas. Lake Conroe is up there, and 2 weeks ago, Lake Conroe was overflowed. Lake Conroe got too high, so they released the dam to let some of the water out to lower the level. And we had a lot of rain. We had a rainstorm on top of that, so Lake Conroe did flood out 2 weeks ago. So that's north, and then I just explained the south and the southwest. I live out west. I live west of Houston, so I don't live near the water. I would love to, but I don't want to deal with that. I grew up in Miami. I'm from Miami, so I grew up in hurricanes. I survived Hurricane Andrew and all those, and all the many hurricanes that hit Florida. I lived through all that already. So as a homeowner, I don't want that responsibility. So as much as I would love to live on the coastal side, I don't want to have to deal with that. There are some people that will live and die for the coast, and they don't care how much it costs. They don't care what the risks are. They want to live on the coast, and that's fine. You know, you do whatever you want, whatever you prefer. So that's just something I wanted y'all to understand. People that are considering moving to Houston, but as soon as you see a storm hit us, you get scared and, you know, change your mind. Oh, never mind, it's too dangerous out there. Don't let what you see on social media fool you. Houston is too big for you to believe that the whole city is underwater like what you see online. It's just too big for that. Houston is huge, fourth largest city in the U.S. So, some areas, so that's one thing you always want to ask. If flooding is a concern for you and you want to stay away from flooding areas, when you buy your house, you always want to ask, is this a flood zone? Do I require flood insurance, a flood policy? In areas where flood policies are not required, you still can. You still have the option to get the flood policy just in case. But you don't have to. That's totally up to you. I don't advise either way. That's up to you. I'm just letting you know that it is available to you. But yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, I'm from Miami, so I'm used to the humidity, I'm used to the rain, I'm used to the storms, power outages, you know, that is whatever. What I do recommend, no matter where you live in Houston, whether you're in the flood zone or not, east, west, north, south, no matter where you live, I do recommend getting a generator, because no matter where you live, you can still always lose power, whether you flood or not. I lost power when we had the flood. What's today? Saturday? So it happened Thursday. Thursday night, I did lose power for 5 hours. I mean, we survived, but I would have liked to be able to cook dinner. And even though we do have gas stove, it's electrically ignited. So when I turn my stove on, my gas stove on, you know, you have to do ignite first. That's by electric. Then when you turn it on and the flames come up, that's the gas. It's not going to ignite if the power is out. So I was not able to cook, even though I have a gas stove. So I've been telling myself, every time this happens, I always sit there and say, I'm going to get a generator. As soon as this is over, I'm going to get a generator. I always say that, the power come back on and I forget all about the generator. I got to stop doing that. I need to get a generator. So I am recommending to everyone, get a generator, whether you live in a flood zone or not. Power outage can happen to anybody, anywhere. I had a power outage back when we had that freeze in, what was that, 2021. I had a power outage for a while. But I was in an apartment at that time. I wasn't in my home yet. My home was still being built. So I was in an apartment while my home was being built. And of course, no, they did not have no generators for us. All my kids was worried about was charging their iPads and their phones. That's all they cared about. So we did that in a car. We'll sit in a car for about 30 minutes at a time to charge up. And it was cold. We was cold in that house, but that's what blankets are for, and socks, and so we were fine. We survived, you know. But get a generator. I don't care where you live at. Get a generator. But that's the main thing I wanted to inform you guys about. If you're watching this and you don't live in Houston, but you were considering moving here, what the heck was that? Yeah, so look at the map. Look at the map. Look where Houston is in the state, and you'll see all that coastal area. That's where you're gonna get the hardest hits. Now, like I said, if you're one of those diehard I need the beach and the coastal vibes, and you don't care, then that's where you want to be at. And just know that your homeowner's insurance is going to be more expensive on that side because of the risk you take with the weather. So if you just want to stay clear away from that, then you want to look on the west side, on the opposite side of Houston, and that's the side where I live at. On the west side, that's where you have your Katy, your Cypress is northwest. You got Richmond and Fauquier and Sugarland. So there some parts of Sugarland flood too, but like the older parts of Sugarland can flood. And that's another thing that I wanted to point out too, with new construction. A lot of the new construction communities, they're staying away from flood zones. Some of the older resale homes are in flood zones. So when it comes to comparing, some people always say, oh, you get more house for your money if you buy a resale. Let me tell you something about resales. It could be cheaper to get into them, but if you don't pick the right one that's like a newer resale, or that's been very well maintained, it could be cheaper to get into that house, and it could be larger, more square footage or whatever, but to live in it, to maintain it, it's gonna cost you. It's gonna be more expensive, and the utilities are going to be more expensive because the infrastructure and the like the AC, the HVAC, and the plumbing, all of that is already old and worn and not up to code. It's not the new energy saving technology, so it's going to cost you more money to live in a resale home, even though it's cheaper, maybe cheaper to get into it. You're going to pay for that on the back end over the time that you lived, the whole time you lived there. So, and they very well could be in the flood zone. So you want to compare new construction to resale. That's one thing to consider. But that's all I want to share right now. I'm gonna keep this one short. Just know that the whole city of Houston does not flood. What you see on the news is just pockets of Houston. Definitely not the whole city. The city is too big for that. So don't let that stuff scare you away from moving here. Just know, get a generator so you can have power. It don't matter what electric company you have, anybody can lose power. So that's all I want to share today. I hope I kind of helped ease your minds a little bit about what you see in the media about Houston. I still love it here. I'm not going nowhere. But yeah, if you got any questions, please feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text, email, hit me up on Instagram, follow my Facebook, and I will catch y'all on the next one. See ya.